So will you continue to rely or depend on what's gotten you by thus far, like your beauty, your charm, your money, your voice, whatever, your talent, your skill, whatever you've been using to get by thus far because you feel like that's been working? Or are you going to put your faith in God and God alone? Ezra sets apart a small group of priests. Already from the small group that he was working with, he puts aside a small group of priests, right, to carry out the $5 million worth of temple treasure, right, to see their test of faithfulness. And it was a good test. It was a sacred trust that he had in these men, because he wanted to see if they can carry greater responsibility later on. Now, this is usually how God likes to work. Before God can trust you, he will test you. And I know this for a fact because he does this to me all the time. Okay, so Luke 16 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Whoever is dishonest with little will also be dishonest with much. Now, Israel and his men were trusted. They were trusted men. Now, consider the small things that God has you to do now, that he's entrusted you with right now. Maybe it's a test. Maybe he's preparing you for something even greater later on. Consider the journey that God has called you to make for him. Will you trust as Ezra did and know that the gracious hand of God is on everyone who looks to him? Or are you going to just keep relying on what you've been relying on thus far? I know that when you walk in faith, you will find God to be faithful. Oh, baby, he will. So, I can't share a part of my testimony yet. And so because I can't share that part yet, I won't share. But I do know that when God does give you a little bit, he does increase. He does increase when he sees that you can be trusted with this. I know in the last season, I wasn't as busy, but this season is like, whoa, I'm busy. And I'm happy because I'm not as bored, which is really good. I do believe that God increases your responsibility once he gives you more. That's also in Matthew, I believe, or Mark. I can't remember right now, but where the manager was managing the money and he left to go on a trip, and he left 3 men with money, and one was with the larger amount and the second one with the middle, not so large amount, lesser amount, and then the one with like a small amount. And what did they do? How did they steward it? So I'm encouraging you, if God has entrusted you today with something, even if it's small or you feel like it's small, maybe it's a test. Maybe God is testing you to see where you're at and if he could give you more. And when he gives you more, what will you do and how will you handle it? How will you steward it?